Blackhawks, it's Russ Kavalhuna, your president. As part of our community's diverse holidays, I want to share some information with you about Juneteenth, which takes place on June 19th. I have some special guests who are our colleagues and students who will also share their views, and I hope you enjoy hearing from them. Juneteenth is considered the Independence Day for many African Americans. It is the oldest holiday recognizing the end of slavery. In 2021, Juneteenth became an official federal holiday. In fact, the Michigan legislature is considering making it a holiday for our state right now. Here's some history about this holiday. The American Civil War ended in the spring of 1865. On June 19th, Army General Gordon Granger landed with his troops in Galveston, Texas. He read a proclamation that confirmed that all formerly enslaved people were free and had equal rights with other Americans. June 19th became an annual day of celebration to honor Black Americans and the end of slavery in the United States. There's been some official progress in the years afterward. In fact, in 1868, the Constitution was amended to confirm that Black Americans were citizens and had the right to own property. And then in 1870, another amendment confirmed that Black men had the right to vote. But the truth is, we know that equal rights were not granted as promised to all Black Americans. In fact, the struggle with racism, discrimination, and the legacy of slavery continues more than 150 years later. We should continue to learn about this history so we can work forward and toward a more equitable and inclusive society. I personally remain committed to working with all of you to make sure our college is welcoming to everyone. We want our community to be free from discrimination and racism, and we know that this will require ongoing work. We want everyone to feel that they are supported and welcomed. And we want everyone to be able to share and express their cultural traditions. We also want to learn about all the cultures and traditions that make us such a rich, diverse community. And Juneteenth is one of those many traditions. And so I will tell you, please consider being curious about those who are not from your own culture. Ask those who live and have experienced different lives than you about their lives. Learn about them. Students, this will make you a better employee, a better teammate, a better community member. And teammates, have those curious and courageous conversations so that we can all become a better society.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Lord, we shall overcome someday.
I'm free. I'm free. I felt the weight of the words pour from the cracks of my mouth. Never have I smiled so much. Never have I seen so many smiles. As we gather in our church, huddled under the dim light of the candle, illuminating the faces of those born into a world refusing to recognize my mother and father, my people, as royals, from the rivers running wild in the Nile to the Blackfoot daisy that dances in the moonlight right here in Texas. On this day, June 19th, 1865, we return to our thrones. June 19th, 1865 commemorates or symbolizes the liberation of millions of African Americans, shattering the shackles that had once oppressed them for over 400 years in America. The news of freedom reigned with the arrival of 2,000 Union troops in Galveston Bay, Texas. The troops declared the emancipation of more than 250,000 enslaved African Americans in the state of Texas by executive decree. And on this day, June 17th, 2021, President Joe Biden signed the bill into law, establishing Juneteenth as a holiday recognized by the federal government. The number of cities and states creating Juneteenth-centered activities and celebrations continue to increase. Many retail stores, such as Target, honor the historic day and the continued fight for racial justice and equality. Target has created committees and donating millions to rebuilding and supporting local communities, paying team members who work on June 19th paid time off and a half, as well as offering paid time off for a time of celebration, reflection, and connection. For me, Juneteenth is a day full of reflection and appreciation, a day where I re-educate myself on the adversities faced and the endless accomplishments of the Black community. I love watching documentaries, films, and listening to music depicting the long journey towards Black excellence and the beauty of being Black.
So Juneteenth is the day we take to celebrate the freeing of Black people as slaves. The story of Juneteenth goes, the Union troops came down to Texas. They announced that the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed, and Black people who were held as slaves had just broke out into spontaneous celebration. The sad part about Juneteenth is that this announcement wasn't made until 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed. So I'm sure it was by design that they just wanted to keep them held captive as long as possible. And so what's important to remember is that even though the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed and on paper the slaves had been freed, the system of oppression and even slavery itself didn't fizzle out overnight. Actually, Jim Crow laws were enacted, and so that system continued for years and years and years. And so that's just one thing we want to keep in mind while we're celebrating and remembering Juneteenth. So I learned about Juneteenth 3 years ago in light of what happened to George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. Learned about it on social media, and at that time people were just thinking more about their Blackness and thinking more about the legacy of this country. It's really ironic that I learned about it 3 years ago because I've always been the type to keep up with Black literature, Black history, Black philosophy, but I just didn't know about it. So this year, my goal is just to be really involved with Juneteenth. I haven't celebrated it since learning about it really. This year, I just want to reach out to the Black educators that we have on campus, professors in sociology, Black history, Black studies, just to learn more about the history of the celebration and to learn more about Black culture more. They also have programming at the Charles H. Wright Museum that I want to do, and then they have a festival in downtown Detroit, which I want to go to. And then the biggest thing about Juneteenth is celebrating it with other people. So I'm not just looking to acquire knowledge this Juneteenth. I'm looking to participate with people in the community, have good conversations with friends and family about Juneteenth and about our Black identity. So when I'm reaching out to these Black educators, I want to answer a few questions. I kind of want to learn more about why is it the fact that Juneteenth isn't popular here like it is in the South. Of course, we know it originated in Texas, but still, why didn't it materialize here, in northern and Midwestern states? I also want to have just conversations with other Black folks about their thoughts about the holidays and what are their traditions and how they participate in it. So I think that as Black people start learning more about their identity and start reaffirming their identity, I see Juneteenth becoming more popular, not just in the South, but in northern and Midwestern states too. Do I know if it'll be as celebrated as Christmas or 4th of July or these major American holidays. I don't know. But I do see it gaining in popularity.